Hello and welcome to our webcast. I'm Cole Mertz with Moss Adams and I'm getting us started for today's session, Professional Services, Harness AI and Automation. Before we begin, I'm going to play a brief housekeeping video.
Welcome and thanks for joining us. Moss Adams webcasts are designed to help elevate your business performance. Transform your future for the better with advisory solutions tailored to your vision and supported by our collective technical resources. Our presentation will start in a few moments. Before we begin, here are a few things to keep in mind. You can customize how you both view our presentation and interact with the presenter. For better viewing, close all other applications and turn up your speaker volume. You can also adjust window size and placement or enter full screen mode using the controls at the top of the window or dragging the bottom right-hand corner to resize. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a series of icons, each relating to a different aspect of our session. You can download the group attendance sheet and a PDF copy of today's slides from the slide deck and handouts widget. You can ask our presenter questions during the webcast by typing a question in the Q&A window and clicking Submit. We'll do our best to answer all questions during the presentation or follow up via email. If you experience technical difficulty during today's presentation, refresh your browser by hitting the F5 key. Today's session will offer you 1 CPE credit. To receive credit, you must meet the requirements as specified by the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. You must attend at least 50 minutes of the session and respond to at least 75% or 3 of the 4 polling questions, which we'll ask throughout today's presentation. Polling questions will appear within the slide window. To participate in the polls, please click on your answer and be sure to hit the Submit button to record your response. We'll track your progress and alert you when you've earned CPE credit. You can then click the certificate icon in the CPE Progress widget and download your CPE certificate. Don't worry, if you can't download your CPE certificate today, we'll email a copy to you in 2 weeks. If you're attending this webcast in a group, you must complete our group CPE attendance sheet to receive credit. The attendance sheet is available in our slide deck and handouts widget. Please have all group members sign it and send only 1 sheet per group. Also note that CPE credit only can be awarded to participants registered as themselves, and isn't available for participants who view the on-demand version. As a reminder, the presentation you're about to see is not legal, investment, or accounting advice. We encourage you to seek the counsel of a professional service provider to apply this content to your specific circumstances.
And now I'd like to introduce today's presenters. Loren Den-Herder, Managing Director, Jessica Carius, Senior Generative AI Consultant, and Janet Barboa, Senior Manager. Their bios and contact information are located in your webcast console for your convenience. And now I'd like to turn the floor over to Loren to get the presentation started. Loren.
Great. Thank you, Cole, and thank you, everybody, so much for joining. Just wanted to go through a quick agenda here and just talk about, so AI just kind of leapt onto the scene and seems to be, dominating the conversations now. And so with that, it has brought, a bit of confusion around, is this all automation, or, how do you go about really leveraging both AI and automation to help augment business processes? And what we have found is it's good to really have the right tool for the right job. And so what do I mean by that? When you're thinking about, AI and automation, and let's say you want to produce a report, you could say, well, do you want AI to predict that report, or do you want automation to just go ahead and generate the way it does in a very accurate way? But yet then you look at what AI can put together in terms of its speed to content. It's almost mesmerizing the capabilities that are there. And so what we'd like to do today is just go through and really talk about, what are the strengths of both of these. They both have huge business value associated with them. And there's not a clear delineation between them. There is definitely an overlap, a blurred line between where AI leaves off and automation picks up. and it really is specific to situations. So we just want to go through that discussion today here. But before we get into that discussion, I'd like to just do a quick polling question and understand a little bit more about our audience, and then we'll carry on from there.
Great, thanks, Loren. For our first polling question, we have, what is your perception of generative AI today? A, optimistic, B, curious, C, cautious, D, overhyped, or E, concerned? And you have about 10 to 15 seconds to answer the first polling question.
Yeah, so what we find is this discussion has shifted a lot over the last 2 years. So when AI came into the scene up front, there's just a lot of curiosity of like, what is this? And it's so interesting or scary. And now as we continue this conversation and there's more and more engagement with it, there is kind of a shifting of the perceptions there. Yeah, so this is interesting. So this is shifting. There's a lot of curiosity, way more curiosity kind of up front. Like to see the optimism creeping up there as well. The cautiousness is well advised to do that. Enter into this world with your eyes wide open. So we have an expert here on the line with this, and so Jessica will take us through the AI component of this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Loren, for the introduction and really interesting results here on the poll. I really love to see that people are veering away from the concern and the overhypeness. I think that there is a lot of good AI education out there. So hopefully today's session can provide a bit more value and some context around that. So how we're going to start off with is just a quick 101 on what is Gen I. So if you are an AI technical expert, feel free to zone out for about 2 minutes here while I bring everyone else up to speed, or you can take this as an opportunity to bring a new approach to the table when it comes to educating your own teams. But at its core, we like to define AI as computer systems designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. So think of tasks like speech, seeing, interpreting images, recognizing patterns. And of course, why we're all kind of here today is now that creating element. And this creative ability is what we call generative AI. So Gen AI represents this awesome evolution in AI technology where it's combining these traditional AI techniques like machine learning, computer vision, NLP, and of course predictive analytics into this powerful model referred to as large language models. So these large language models, or LLMs, are tried on a vast amount of data. So that's why you can see it be able to work with text, images, videos, sound. All of this training data is what gives them the ability to generate or otherwise predict entirely new and original content. So this is why we see that Gen AI has this awesome hype around it. Again, I'm glad to see some people are toning down the overhype in that poll, because what is so incredible with Gen AI is that unlike traditional AI, it's able to leverage unstructured data sources. So these are these data sources that at times make our lives as human employees that bit more tedious. So think about comparing policies, about finding discrepancies in qualitative data, listening for errors and cutting out the ums and ahs in a podcast. This is why Gen AI is considered so transformational, is that it is able to take the way that we are currently doing things and enabling us to rethink that way we do it. But at the end of the day, we do believe that Gen AI is just this tool, right? It's just another tool in our toolkit, and it's not going to do us much good unless we know how to use it and where we should apply it for maximum impact across our business. So diving into this next poll question here, we have, what do you see as the biggest challenge in using Gen AI effectively in your organization? So understanding where it provides the most value, unsure where to even start, what use cases to even apply it to, data, privacy, security concerns, or employee adoption and change management.
And we'll give it about 5 to 10 more seconds now just to let you get your answers in.
I'm very curious to see this one. I really do believe it depends on the organization and where people are in their tech stack journey as well and their comfort levels. So it'll be cool to see the answers here.
Yeah, we even see variances inside of an organization. Some are champions and others are a little more unsure about this.
Yeah. All right, so we actually see close tie with data privacy and security concerns and understanding where it provides the most value. And then followed by employee adoption and where to start. Awesome. So hopefully we can, in today's session, start providing some direction as to where it provides the most value. We're not touching too much on data privacy and security in this session. However, I know there are a few Moss Adams sessions coming out on that angle. And also in today's one, hopefully we can provide a bit of a high level overview as to where we might even start to mediate that. So we'll dive into this business value content. So what you see here is I guess a graph that we'd like to let you guys start thinking about, because we really want to myth bust this concept that transformation means all or nothing when it comes to Gen AI. We are seeing a lot of organizations face what we term analysis paralysis when considering AI, perceiving it as this massive, all-encompassing transformation with so many elements to consider. It's like, right, we've got to completely redo our business, we're changing everything, and that's just way too much. It's this misconception that it needs to be a complete overhaul, and then that in turn leads to this hesitation and ultimately inaction. A more achievable and sustainable approach to AI adoption is thinking of it as this gradual augmentation to the way that we achieve work. We're not suddenly doing hands-off tools, we're automating everything, but we're augmenting the way that we are going from A to B in a business process. So instead of aiming for complete agency from the outset, consider how AI can assist or augment these existing workflows, right? The key is to enhance human capabilities with AI, not to replace them entirely, especially if you're in these initial stages. I mean, it can be very dangerous when we let AI models run wild, when we let automation run wild. I'm from Australia and we have a horror story from Robodebt that had huge implications. If you want to research Robodebt Australia, I'm sure the details of that horror will come forward. And that's essentially the repercussions of letting automation do its thing and saying hands off. And it really just emphasizes the importance, especially with AI, to let that human in the loop to oversee how the models are running, how the models are training, and how people are using it as well. And when you have this initial progress where you're able to gradually build on your AI maturity and you're gradually able to scale your use cases, you can learn how it's working. Your employees become more confident in how to use the tools. And that's where you're going to start seeing the true value of AI, particularly Gen AI. So this assist, augment, agent framework provides a visual roadmap for this AI integration, ensuring that there are a series of manageable and impactful wins. So AI maturity on that left-hand side is going to encompass an organization's ability to leverage AI and derive business value from it. What I mean here is that business has the resources and the governance frameworks in place as well to responsibly use AI. And then along the bottom where you see the scale of AI use cases, this is referring to the breadth of the AI applications successfully being scaled across the enterprise. So our overarching message here is to start small, think big, and begin with these small targeted AI applications that deliver clear value. This phased approach will ultimately minimize risk and it maximizes those chances of successful adoption. To help us hone in on this concept of AI as an augmentation tool, I want to introduce this idea of a Gen AI as a participant in the workflow. Human attention, right, is this limited resource. It impacts our capacity to scale operations and innovation because at the end of the day, we are working 8 hours, say, and we have a lunch break in the middle of that, and we have distractions and Teams messages, and our attention can only go so far. As we introduce large language models, they add this dimension to how we participate in work. And it offers us this opportunity to reimagine this process. So instead of thinking, for example, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to brainstorm how I'm going to put together a PowerPoint or a presentation, I automatically have this team member, this participant in the way I work, that I can brainstorm with and I can collaborate with. And having that extra participant in my business way I work, my business flow, that's going to enable me to optimize the way I spend my time and introduces this concept of expanded intelligence. So AI augmentation really can be likened to having several highly skilled individuals to your own team at a fraction of the cost. And this expansion of capabilities is what allows us to tackle more complex challenges and unlock these new opportunities. So now we want to think about, we know how to think about Gen AI. I want to take us back to this dimension of AI maturity from this graph. So an essential aspect of AI maturity, we will stand by and we will hone it in, is AI fluency. AI fluency is essential for any organization to take on AI and scale that AI maturity. What this means is that we're ensuring all employees at all levels understand AI's capability and how it can be applied to their roles. While a centralized top-down approach to AI implementation has its moment, and at times it does work, it is not scalable and it often hampers the speed of change and prevents everyone's mind from working on what the problem actually is, like who's doing those tedious tasks, right? This approach relies solely on a small group of experts and it limits this huge potential for widespread adoption and innovation when it comes to use case identification. So what we see here is that it also tends to lead to a term we know as shadow AI usage, where employees are secretly using tools without admitting it because they feel like they're cheating, or maybe they're not allowed to in their organization. And if they don't have the resources to know how to use it, we see this lending itself to data privacy concerns and risks here, right? Because suddenly I'm not equipped with the resources to know how to use DeepSeek or OpenAI, and suddenly data is where it probably shouldn't be. Instead of suppressing this and leading to potentially risky activity with Gen AI, what we should be doing is engaging these shadow AI users to help them feel safer and encourage their willingness to experiment and test with Gen AI. And this helps spread advantages throughout the organization. So the most effective approach to this is to combine top-down leadership with the bottom-up enthusiasm and innovation, right? So leadership provides the strategic direction, it provides the resources, it provides the support and the encouragement, while the employees generate ideas, they generate feedback, and they provide those practical hands-on-the-ground applications to Gen AI. So we can endorse AI as leadership, but we want to ensure that everyone works on this journey together. So you'll see on this graph here a table of the different elements of AI fluency. And you'll see that when I talk about AI fluency, I don't mean knowing these intricate details of the workings of an LLM. I'm meaning developing an understanding of how AI works, to the extent that as a person using AI, I feel comfortable in actively discussing these viable and valuable use cases with clients, with my employees, with operations teams, so that we can identify where we can bring the most value. AI fluency not only ensures that it's also being used correctly, but it also lays the groundwork for responsible AI usage and, of course, that capability development as we go forward in time. From governance to use case identification to the evolution of our workforce, there are so many different components of where AI touches. And in this landscape, we want to make sure that we're all ahead of the game and we all have this understanding of what AI means to our business processes. So I will swear by it, fluency is what underlies the success of any AI adoption organization, because the bottom line is that a technology is useless and it can be dangerous if you don't know how to use it. A computer is no good, right, if you don't know how to turn it on. So it is so important to know how to use these tools. And then you have that other component, right, which is, well, how do we even identify our use cases, both at an individual level and on a business scale? Just because Gen AI can do something, it doesn't mean it should. And it's essential to remember this so that you can ensure that AI is applied ethically, it's applied securely, and it's also applied in alignment with your business goals and business objectives. So I'm going to introduce this little table I've got on the screen, and it helps us kind of think about where we should and shouldn't use AI. So you'll see the one box, with the AI with humans. So this is going to be when the approach is ideal for tasks where AI excels and humans provide oversight, ensuring accuracy, and also any ethical considerations here. So that's when your human knowledge is high, but your effort to complete the task is also high. So that means as an expert, you're able to let AI lead the way because you have the knowledge to look over it and make sure everything is right. There's no AI on its own. I want you to notice that. It's the AI with human oversight, providing those ethical considerations as well. Then you'll see those two boxes where it's humans with AI. So this is where a human leads the process, but they leverage AI tools to augment their processes and augment their decision making. And then I guess the human box is pretty self-explanatory, where it's those use cases that are not ideal for AI. But to put this into practice with an example, I want you to imagine someone with limited coding experience, right? And they're going to go to AI to generate their code. This is where a human effort is high, because as someone who doesn't really know coding, it's going to take me a long time, for example, to write this code. So my effort is really up there, but my knowledge is low. And so it's going to be really hard for me to go through and validate it. So while the AI can produce the code, it's so crucial to have a human leading this process and a knowledgeable person to review the output for errors, to review for security vulnerabilities, and to review because they know how they want the code to be formatted, right? So therefore, this is a humans with AI use case. You're not letting AI run and then pressing run in your code. You're using it to help you learn and to help you get to where you want to be faster, but you're leading the way because you don't have the knowledge yet to know what's right and what's wrong. So once you take that stance, you also have the business opportunity on a business scale. And so that's where it's so important to identify what business op is AI even adding value to. We don't need a chatbot just because it's fun to say we have AI and we're using this chatbot and it's helping us. It's like, well, is it actually helping you? And what business opportunity are you able to latch that onto? Is our use case helping operational efficiencies, or are we able to expedite everything so quickly that we can untap into new markets? This is so important to keep top of mind whenever you're deploying a new solution, be it AI or any other part of a tech stack is where are we providing value to? So first of all, you got to think of just because we can use AI doesn't mean we should. So is this something that we should even be using AI for? And if yes, where are we finding that business value? So we'll go now to the next polling question, which is where do you see AI augmenting your business value? Is it operational efficiencies? Are you looking at it for innovation, customer experience? That tends to be a popular one. Or are you looking at AI for risk and compliance?
And I think we find this tends to shift a bit as AI fluency grows across an organization as well. Different things will get implemented in AI, which will then open up new lines of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So like if your first use case is targeting customer experience and then suddenly that's all truly well and good, what else is your business in the market of providing value in and those untapped innovation? And operational efficiency, a huge one. And that actually is a good lead way to the next slide. And then it's pretty even across the other three. Awesome. All right, so I guess in ways of operational efficiency, this might relate to a few of you, but you'll see here that we have a table of what we call quick wins. So these are these use cases that we are just seeing organizations look at, think that's where we can provide business value. And then it's a very small scale, large impact use case. So I've got the generative AI capability there on the left. So that's when you're looking at how it can generate new content. It can interpret and evaluate. Translation is a huge one. And then you'll also see this knowledge search component. This one is a huge value add when we're talking about operational efficiencies. And it's a really popular use case because I think it's relatable to almost every organization. But what you're seeing here is that you've got, I mean, think of your own organization, right? And think of all the people who have all of this incredible internal knowledge and it's all in their brains or it's all in all these SharePoint files and it's absolutely everywhere. How can we create a way to consolidate all of that awesome knowledge and put it in a place where your employees can interact with it in natural language and find the answers that they're looking for? Think of all these processes that can be put in, how to find certain benefits, right? It's a really awesome, scalable application. And you would start small, you could start specific, and then once people got the hang of that and start to go to that, think of those other knowledge use cases that you can apply it to. Again, great impact, really small scale, doesn't take a huge cost with that either. So start to think about those pain points across your organization, how those different value buckets fit in with that, and what your quick win could possibly be as well. So in terms of getting started, I mean, first of all, think about who your champion team is going to be, right? Who are going to be your people that are going to help you along the way? If we're taking it from not just that top-down approach, right? We need that bottom-up enthusiasm. So if you have champion groups who are there to do trainings, to advocate, that's going to be a huge win. And then when you have that knowledge within the organization, that's when you can start to identify those real business problems. Maybe you have a system where people can submit use cases to a platform, and then your champion group is able to filter it, and your data science group is able to identify what is plausible and what's a quick win. Bring everyone along for that journey. And then that's when you're going to say, right, is this a build, partner, or buy AI situation? Or is it not even an AI situation at all, right? Is it automation? Is it something else? I have that in green there. Gen AI may not be the right solution. So really have a think about that. And that's when your fluency is going to come into play and make a huge difference there. Once you have that tool, you're going to want to engage your workforce. You're going to want to have people learn how to use it. So here at Moss Adams, we use what we call Moss GPT, and that's our internal GPT instance where we can use Gen AI in a secure Moss Adams environment, and it enables our employees to experiment safely. So while it's all good to have that launched, how are we going to encourage people to use it? And the team has done this awesome job of keeping us up to date with trainings. We get notifications whenever there's updates to the platform, which encourages us to go in and test that. We have our risk and governance trainings, which spotlight why it's important to use Moss GPT, perhaps over an OpenAI with certain activities. And it's bringing everyone along for the ride. And then from there, you're just going to continuously improve. Like, think of that graph again. You've gone from assisting a workflow. How can we then proceed to augment to eventually maybe one day we're in this agent workflow where there's still humans in the loop, but it's more scaled and we have a really AI mature organization. And that's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next month, right? But it's thinking about that long-term journey with this awesome technology. And that's what you've got to keep in mind there. So how we're helping our clients, we've touched on it along the way, but this internal GPT instance, right, that is something that we're able to help organizations figure out if it's right for them, if another system or a co-pilot is right for them. Like, right, we can help you identify, is that the use case that provides value? Knowledge base, Gen AI, augmented knowledge bases. That is a topic that we love to chat about because we see the business impact there all the time. So happy to have conversations. Or if you just want to chat about use cases too, right? We're all learning together. We're all learning as we go. So feel free to reach out and we'd love to have those conversations with you there. Otherwise, I'm going to pass over to Janet, who is now going to welcome us into the world of automation.
Thanks, Loren and Jessica, an informative presentation of the power of AI. On the next few slides, we will be discussing automation solutions. What are some common pitfalls you see professional service companies should be paying attention to? Professional service companies can greatly benefit from automation, but there are several common pitfalls you should be aware of to ensure successful implementation and operation. Here are some key pitfalls to consider. Lack of clear objectives. Failing to establish clear objectives for automation can lead to misalignment between the technology and business needs. Companies should define specific goals they want to achieve with automation. Over-automation, automating everything. Attempting to automate too many processes at once can overwhelm teams and lead to confusion. It's important to prioritize processes that will benefit most from automation and implement changes gradually. Data quality issues. Poor data management. Automation relies heavily on accurate and clean data. If the underlying data is flawed, the outputs will always be unreliable. Companies should implement strong data management practices. Integration challenges. Incompatible systems. Automation tools may not seamlessly integrate with existing systems, leading to data silos and inefficiencies. It's important to assess compatibility and plan for integration challenges before implementation. Conclusion. By being aware of these common pitfalls, professional service companies can take proactive steps for risks and maximize the benefits of automation. A thoughtful approach to planning, implementation, and ongoing management will ensure that automation and success are successful and aligned with business objectives. Next slide, please. What are the benefits of automating your accounting processes? Automating accounting processes can bring numerous benefits to businesses of all sizes. Here are some key advantages: increased efficiency, time saving, faster processing, improved accuracy, minimized human error, consistent data, enhanced financial reporting, real-time insights, customized reports, better cash flow management, timely invoicing, automated reminders, cost savings, reduced labor cost, lower operational cost, scalability, easier growth management, adaptability, enhanced compliance and audit readiness, regulatory compliance, easier audits, improved collaboration, centralized data access, integration with other tools, better decision-making, data-driven insights, increased security, data protection, backup, and recovery. By automating accounting processes, businesses can not only streamline their operations, but also gain a competitive edge through improved efficiency, accuracy, and strategic decision-making. Next slide, please. Accounting platforms using automation tools. Several accounting platforms leverage automation technology to enhance efficiency, accuracy, and overall productivity. Here are some popular accounting platforms that incorporate automation and integration features. These accounting platforms utilize automation technology to streamline various financial processes, reduce manual data entry, and improve accuracy. When selecting an accounting platform, it's essential to consider the specific automation features that align with your business needs and the integrations available with other tools you may be using. We've assisted other businesses that wanted to streamline and automate their processes. For example, we had a client that was using QuickBooks Desktop, which generally you have to pay a monthly hosting subscription in addition to the annual subscription cost of QuickBooks Desktop. So they converted their QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online for use of automation tools. In other examples, some businesses will switch from QuickBooks to Sage Intacct for consolidation financials, or perhaps a client with a large component of inventory may switch to NetSuite. Next slide, please. Automation of bank connection in accounting. This typically involves automating the import of bank transactions, reconciliations, and other financial activities. Here are some key aspects and benefits. Automated bank feeds, direct integration. Many accounting platforms offer direct integration with banks, allowing for automatic import of bank transactions into the accounting software. Real-time updates. Transactions are updated in real time or irregular intervals, ensuring the financial data is correct. Transaction and automatic categorization. Some systems can automatically categorize imported transactions based on predefined roles, reducing manual data entry. Bank and streamlined reconciliations. Automated bank connections simplify the reconciliation process by matching imported bank transactions with recorded transactions in the accounting software. Alerts for discrepancies. Users can receive alerts for any discrepancy between bank statement and accounting records. Expense tracking. Automatic expense import. Business expenses can be automatically imported from bank accounts, making it easier to track spending. Integration with expense management tools. Many accounting platforms integrate with expense management tools to streamline the expense report processing. Payment processing. Automated payments and/or ACH transfers. Some accounting systems allow for automated payment processing directly from the accounting platform, reducing the need for manual check writing or payment entry. The overall benefit of automated bank connections are increased efficiency, improved accuracy, enhanced cash flow, better financial insight, and simplified compliance. Next slide, please. Common challenges of bank and credit card reconciliations. Time-consuming preparation, multiple data sources, data cleansing, spreadsheet preparations, and various other updates. Timeliness, month and end year close. Quality and compliance, error-prone, data quality, and consistency. Next slide, please. Over to you, Cole, on this polling question.
Thanks, Janet. For our final CP polling question, we have, what is the primary benefit you expect to achieve through the implementation of automation in your accounting processes? A, increased efficiency and productivity. B, improved accuracy and reduction of errors. C, enhanced compliance and reporting capabilities. Or D, cost savings and resource optimization. And while you're answering our final polling question, I just want to remind the audience that you do have the option to submit questions for our presenters in the Q&A window. We have quite a bit of content to cover today, so if we don't have time to respond during the webcast, we will follow up with you afterwards. And as a final reminder, if you'd like to receive CPE credit for today's webcast, you will need to respond to at least 3 of the 4 polling questions, and please make sure that you're selecting your answer choice within the slide window and not adding to the Q&A window. Thank you. And with that, I will close out our final polling question. Back to you, Janet.
The expense management tools can automate various aspects of expense reporting, approval workflows, and reimbursement processes, making them invaluable for accounting teams. Here are some popular expense management tools commonly used in accounting. Overview, common used expense management tools that allows users to track expenses, capture receipts, and automate expense reports. Key features: receipt scanning, automatic expense categorization, policy enforcement, and integration with various accounting softwares. We've had clients that have implemented this tool. For example, your team takes out a client for lunch. You can simply scan your receipt with your mobile phone, and the receipt will sync directly into Expensify. Next slide, please. Bill.com is a cloud-based platform designed to streamline AP and AR processes, providing significant automation benefits for accounting functions. Here's how Bill.com assists with your accounting: automated invoice processing, receipt capture, data entry reduction, streamline approval workflows, customized approval process, notification and reminders, automated payment processing, scheduled payments with multiple payment options, integration with accounting software, seamless data sync, real-time updates, enhanced security and compliance, secure transactions, audit trails. Bill.com helps businesses reduce manual work, minimize errors, and improve cash flow management. Back in the day, you would have one person open the bank statement and the same person would pay the invoice. Therefore, there was no internal controls in place. In another case, we've had an instance where some fraudulent activity occurred for one of our clients. So we implemented Bill.com into their existing accounting platform, which has processes in place. You typically will enter the invoice to the Bill.com dedicated email address. The invoice will be entered, verified by a team member, and then sent to the client to be approved and paid electronically. As a business payer, you can be on an airplane headed to Costa Rica and simply receive a notification on your cell phone and/or email and approve and pay. It's as simple as that. Next slide, please. Payroll resource management plays a crucial role in automating various aspects of accounting, particularly in handling employee compensation, benefits, and compliance. Here's how payroll resource management assists with automation in accounting: automated payroll processing, streamlined calculations, scheduled payments, integration with accounting software, seamless data transfer, real-time updates, tax compliance and reporting, automated tax calculations, filing and reporting. By automating payroll processes, businesses can reduce administrative burdens, minimize errors, and ensure compliance with tax and labor regulations. The integration of payroll resource management with the accounting system enhances overall efficiency, providing accurate and timely financial information that supports better decision-making. This automation not only saves time and resources, but also allows accounting teams to focus on strategic initiatives rather than routine administrative tasks. Next slide, please. Loren, over to you on APA. Loren?
Apologies there. I was talking on mute. How about that? So what we've done here is we have taken you through 2 things, AI and automation. And you see that in AI, there are some very good use cases for that. And then there are some other very distinct use cases when it comes to automation. And so what we'd like to do here is blur that line a little bit and then talk about how do you kind of identify between them what is the right use case for that. So this analytic process automation is a way that you can go through data manipulation that you do on a regular basis, but it's just a lot of work. And so think of this like you have, monthly spreadsheets that you need to go through, and you are trying to manipulate the data that you're receiving on that across to make a report, to do some analysis, to get some outputs, make some decisions, maybe close books. And with all of that, it's just a lot of pushing data around. You can automate that. There are tools to do that. But in the midst of that, you may find that there is a way that you want to have some decision-making automated as well. And so we use a tool for this called Alteryx. And what it does is you can identify a whole set of data that can come in and then set up this process that it goes through. Many times it's a bit of a rote process, albeit it could be complicated in the multiple steps that you go through, or just is very time consuming. And so what this will do is give you a way to, every step of the way, define what is happening and see the data as it transforms. More importantly, what this is doing is taking a very technical process and making it super approachable for business people that aren't just focused in technology, and be able to automate this. Now, where we're going to blur the line here between automation and AI is that some of these steps may be a decision-making step. And when that's the case, then that's where an agentic workflow can be part of this. And it can take and look and do some decision-making along the way. And what that will do is it'll augment that workflow, but you still have human in the loop when you're doing that. You still have a person that's accountable when you're going through that automation. And so what you'll find is that when you do have AI helping with this automation, it is something that is very effective, of course. But the thing to remember is while you're using AI tools to help with it, takes the drudgery out of the work, AI is a participant that's highly efficient and 100% not accountable. So you need to have a person there where there is accountability. So when you implement AI and automation together, this is one where you will necessarily have to change your business process just to be sure that you have somebody at the end of the day that's accountable for what is happening. But this tool set here, so if you are manipulating a lot of data on a regular basis, either spreadsheets or otherwise, however you receive that, you need to go out and even go into different systems and look it up. This Alteryx is capable of doing that. And then it will allow you to then both have an element of AI, have an element of automation, take the drudgery out of the work, and give you a way to kind of mix both automation and AI. One kind of final thought on this is, if you're wondering, where do you draw that line? I think you probably saw it pretty clearly in this presentation that when it's less structured and it's more nuanced, AI is probably going to be a better fit. But when it's more transactional or more highly structured, then just pure automation is probably going to be a better fit. And then, of course, there's always a blend in the middle there. So I think there's just a few more points here, Jan, do you want to go through before we close out?
Sure. Thanks, Loren. Looking ahead, as businesses look ahead to enhance efficiency through automation and the use of artificial intelligence in accounting, there are several key considerations to keep in mind. Identifying repetitive tasks for automation, task analysis, prioritize, integrating AI for enhanced decision-making, data analysis, predictive analytics, improved accuracy in reducing errors, error detection, continuous learning, enhancing compliance and audit readiness, automated compliance checks, audit trails, streamlining collaboration and communication, centralized platforms, AI chatbots, cost considerations and ROI, initial investment versus long-term savings, measuring ROI, employee training and change management, upskilling staff, change management, choosing the right technology, research solutions, vendor support, data security and privacy, protecting sensitive information, compliance with regulations, future-proofing your accounting processes, scalability, staying informed. Embracing automation and AI in accounting can lead to significant efficiencies, cost savings, and improved decision-making capabilities. By carefully considering the factors outlined above, businesses can strategically implement those technologies to enhance their accounting processes and drive overall business success. I think next is going to be questions for the audience.
Great. Yeah, we have a few questions in from the audience. I think we'll start off with this one, which is, here in Brazil, I signed up with a startup called Adaptive.org that created agreements with the most widely used AIs, GPT, etc., and promises the best answers. I still have a problem obtaining meaningful answers to questions as simple as what is the percentage of services in the Brazilian GDP in the year 2023? Is that my fault, the AI's fault, or am I not coaching the AI properly?
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to have a go at this one. To be honest, I wasn't too familiar with the tool, but I did a quick search using another tool on it. So essentially what I want to bring to light here is that I could be standard corrected, but my understanding of Adapter is that it's not connected to the live web necessarily. So if you're asking a question that's pertaining to, say, last year or the year before, it probably doesn't actually have the accurate information there. So step one is going to be confirming, is the platform you're using actually drawing from a live web search, such as something like Perplexity would be doing, right? Your second way of looking at that is not necessarily is it the AI's fault, but is it, or coaching the AI, is it how you're prompting? So I'm sure you've probably had a few different ways of asking the right question, but it is truly incredible, and this goes for everyone on the call, how much impact you can have when you tweak your prompt, when you give it a purpose, when you give it a role, right? So act as a financial consultant, act as a speech coach. There are so many different ways that you can guide your prompt, and that's going to have a huge impact. And then the other hack I also love is the reverse prompting. Getting it to tell you what you are missing from your prompt, getting it to ask you follow-up questions based on its expertise or however you want to frame it. There are going to be some really key prompting techniques to get the best out of your response.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is just emphasizing what Jessica was saying around the all of these language models. In fact, I would say the vast majority so far are pretty much trained on data up to October of 2023. And so what that means is when they're responding, they're just responding with what they have been trained on. So anything kind of after that is really not in the knowledge base at all. But there are tools that do this combination of using AI to figure out how to automate querying from the web and getting current information and munging that all together in the response. And then the last part is just reiterating what Jessica said around when you're prompting, you're going to hear in the dialogue around AI that it hallucinates, so it can give you just an entirely wrong answer. And you'll see that happen as you go through periodically. But here's kind of the thing. When you reshape that question, reshape that prompt, and put it back in from a different perspective, I have found that the most cases when there is a hallucination, that second prompting, it will find it's like, oh, it'll kind of turn and say like, no, that wasn't quite right, what I said before. And so usually within 2 or 3 goes, you're going to find that is it staying on track, or is this something where no, it hallucinated and it's kind of coming back around. So I would encourage you to just be creative in how you go about prompting, and even ask it to build a prompt for you.
Great. And for our second question, we had a few questions come in just generally around upskilling your employees and training them on AI use. So the second question is, what are some ways we can upskill our employees, and how has Moss Adams approached this so far?
Awesome. So definitely my number one thing is that prompt engineering, right? So understanding how to prompt is going to be so important in order to get the most out of any outputs, regardless of the tool. And then your catch there is that depending on the tool, you're going to find your different prompts are going to have a different type of success. The way you prompt in one platform might be different to another, and so forth. So having the education to be like, right, as an organization, this is the platform we're going to be using. So say we take Mosh GPT. Now let's focus on how we prompt within Mosh GPT. What are the different ways that we can get the most out of this? How to interact with the files if you want to do a file query. What are those keywords there? I think there is a lot of hesitation with workers when it comes to using AI because it can take time to learn, right? And everyone's like, well, how much time do I have in my day? I've now got to go in and I've got to learn how to use this new tool. And every time I log in and I use this new tool, it gives me an answer that's wrong. I hear that a lot. They're like, the answer was wrong. It's silly. There's no point using it. That's just the wrong way to go about it. So then it comes down to educating, well, why is it wrong? And it's going to be wrong if you're asking it for those lifetime queries like you would in Google. Your answer is probably going to be wrong. It is not a fact base, right? Generative AI isn't there to give you facts. It's there to help be a participant in the way that you're working. It's there to help you brainstorm an agenda for your meeting. It's there to help you edit an email because maybe you don't necessarily enjoy writing as much and you want to try a different new writing technique. It's going to be that approach to not just how you prompt, but also education into why we're prompting and why, if you spend 30 minutes just trying to navigate this tool, it can then contribute to a bunch of time savings in the future. Loren, I know you're quite passionate about this as well. Would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, and so you make some really good points there. And what I'd like to do is just give you a kind of a concrete example of how I use it and why it's so effective. And here's kind of what you listen for is AI is super effective at expanding the area of consideration. And the way to think about that is, so periodically we will write articles and we will decide like, oh, here's this interesting subject we'd like to write on. And when you go through the writing process, you do end up on that journey finding different aspects and different facets that you want to say, oh, I should be considering this and that, and drawing in this and that piece of it. That whole process usually takes, somewhere between 12 to 15 hours, not just, one sitting, but just over time, you'll, through several different sessions, spend that amount of time to get, 3, 4, 5 pages out there in a concise way. Still, now let's put that process into AI. You can come up with the idea and you can tell in the prompt, you give it a persona. Say you're a creative writer and I want you to write about this and you're an expert in this industry, et cetera. And in that few minutes, it will come back and say, here's this first cut of an article, and it brings out immediately all these different aspects. You're like, oh, yeah, we do need to consider that. You can take that article, put it into another prompt, and say, consider all these different things, but this time you're an editor, and I don't want you to change the article. I just want you to edit. Give me some edit points about what should be changed and considered in this article. It'll come back and give you those points. Take those points, put it back into the first one, and say, hey, I had an editor take a look at this, and here's what the person said. Rewrite the article using this guidance, and it will go through and rewrite them. We might be, a full 10 minutes into this process, not hours. It will come back with that content. You will look through that. You might make some adjustments manually, and then you give it into a third one. Take that whole article, put it back into a third one, and say, you're a publisher. You know how to hold the audience. and I want you to refine this article. So what we've done here is we've given AI kind of 3 goes at this thing in the matter of 15 minutes to 30 minutes. You've got the whole thing done. It saved us hours and hours of effort. So that's kind of how you think about working with AI. It's really augmenting along the way. It's super good at expanding the area of conversation, and it's like having somebody participating side by side with you when you go through this. You can kind of take and expand upon that type of a workflow process in many different areas of the things that you're doing on a daily basis.
Great. With that being said, thank you to Loren, Jessica, and Janet for a great discussion today. I also want to thank the audience for being engaged and submitting your questions to help guide today's conversation. If we didn't have time to answer yours, we will follow up with you after the webcast. Also, feel free to reach out to our presenters if you have any additional questions. Their contact information is in your console. There are a number of additional resources in the upper right-hand corner of your user console that might be of interest to this audience, so definitely check that out. If you've met all CPE requirements, your certificate is now available to download in the CPE progress window. A copy will be emailed to you within 2 weeks should you have any difficulty downloading it now. As a reminder, if you attended today's presentation in a group and would like to receive CPE credits, you must complete the group attendance sheet found in your console. And finally, here is a link to an online survey for today's presentation. Thank you for joining our webcast, and we hope you'll join us again next time. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.